Curious what the biggest crypto influencers really think about the market? I watched their latest videos, and here's the distilled truth. In just 5 minutes, you'll get all the key insights, no fluff. Coin Bureau's host, Guy, believes that Bitcoin has entered a new phase of the cycle. While some think we might already be at the top, others see $100,000 as the new floor. Bitcoin recently hit an all-time high of nearly $112,000, rallying over 50% in just 6 weeks, leaving most altcoins in the dust. Bitcoin dominance has climbed to 65%, a level not seen since 2021, showing just how strong BTC is right now. Yet some market behavior is raising eyebrows. On Deribit, the most traded option is a call betting that Bitcoin will reach $300,000 by the end of June. While that sounds more like a lottery ticket than a realistic forecast, it reflects how euphoric sentiment has become. Guy breaks down several bold predictions, from Standard Chartered's $200,000 target by the end of 2025 to Bitwise's long-term $1 million thesis. Many of these forecasts rely on continued institutional inflows, ETF demand, and a flight from traditional assets like U.S. Treasuries. Corporate adoption is also heating up. Over 70 public companies now hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets, including newcomers like GameStop and even Trump's media firm. But Guy warns not to blindly trust every bullish prediction. We've seen this kind of hype before, and sometimes it ends badly. Still, if institutions keep pouring in and macro conditions worsen, some of these eye-popping forecasts might not be so crazy after all. On the Altcoin Daily channel, Dan Held, a well-known early Bitcoiner, joined as a guest to share his view on the next big wave in crypto. According to Dan, Bitcoin DeFi is the biggest opportunity the space has seen in over a decade. He believes Bitcoin is larger than Ethereum, Solana, and all other blockchains combined, and now with new infrastructure like Layer 2s and Meta protocols, Bitcoin is finally ready for DeFi. Even a small shift of capital into DeFi on Bitcoin could outperform total value locked on other chains. Dan also points to growing institutional and even sovereign interest in Bitcoin, saying this moment could rival the early days of Bitcoin itself. His message? Don't ignore Bitcoin DeFi. The upside could be massive. At Bitcoin Conference 2025, Crypto Banter interviewed top voices in crypto. Here's what they had to say. Raoul Pal, macro investor and Real Vision founder, sees institutions just starting to adopt Bitcoin. He believes Bitcoin will soon be treated as a core macro asset globally. Then we heard from Lynn Alden, who highlighted Bitcoin's role as digital gold. She warned not to chase hype, but instead focus on long-term fundamentals. Finally, Michael Saylor, executive chairman of MicroStrategy, called Bitcoin the ultimate treasury reserve asset. He's not just holding, he's doubling down. Together, they paint one picture. Bitcoin is maturing fast, and the next phase could be historic. On the Benjamin Cowen YouTube channel, 2 recent videos explored key dynamics shaping the crypto market. In the first video, Cowen analyzes Bitcoin dominance, highlighting that while BTC dominance hasn't yet hit a new cycle high, altcoin Bitcoin pairs continue setting lower lows. He explains that the primary reason Bitcoin dominance hasn't surged further is due to ETH BTC holding relatively strong. But if ETH BTC breaks lower, it could trigger another leg down for AOEs. Cowen expects altcoin BTC pairs to bleed into June, possibly hitting 0.32 or even 0.30 by November. He points out a slow but ongoing shift where many investors are giving up on an alt season and rotating back into Bitcoin. His base case remains that BTC dominance will grind higher as alts continue to underperform. In the second video, Cowen discusses Bitcoin price speculation. He argues that while no one can predict short-term price moves, history shows BTC tends to pull back after a golden cross, a pattern playing out again. He warns that if BTC can't break out by mid-June, Q3 may bring downside similar to the last 2 years. However, he emphasizes that Bitcoin still offers better risk-reward than altcoins, especially under tight monetary conditions. Cowen's thesis? In this cycle, Bitcoin leads, and alts are mostly oscillators that continue to bleed against BTC. On the Cryptos Are Used channel, George discussed several major bullish developments for Bitcoin. First, Cantor Fitzgerald introduced a new institutional-grade fund that offers Bitcoin's full upside with downside protection through gold, a first of its kind. Then, Paris Saint-Germain became the largest sports organization to add Bitcoin to their treasury, signaling deeper adoption across industries. George also highlighted Tether's massive Bitcoin accumulation. over 100,000 coins and 50 tons of gold, questioning if it's real gold or just paper-backed. GameStop also entered the scene, investing $500 million into Bitcoin as part of a broader trend of corporations securing digital assets on their balance sheets. Additionally, he mentioned new proposals like using Bitcoin to pay for Panama Canal transit, and efforts from U.S. states like Texas to create their own reserves. El Salvador continues accumulating Bitcoin despite IMF objections, now holding over 6,000 coins. Finally, George reinforced his bullish view, referencing Tom Lee's banana zone theory, suggesting Bitcoin's next targets could be $120,000 to $150,000, and that the breakout may be just around the corner. So, what's the overall sentiment right now? Most top crypto influencers remain cautiously optimistic. They see short-term volatility, but long-term strength for Bitcoin. Altcoins, on the other hand, are still facing downward pressure. If you found this summary helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here, you don't need to sit through 40-minute interviews. I'll give you the key takeaways from the biggest crypto voices in just 5 minutes.